Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors here at Trillium. In 1933, Adolf Hitler was elected Chancellor of Germany. Hitler emphasized the unity of the German people, common will, common purpose, common action. But before Hitler could galvanize this unity in the German people, he had to find for them a common enemy. He needed a monster in order to unify the German people. And he found a monster in the Jew. You know, the Jews were quite distinct. They had a different religion. They worshiped different. They dressed often differently. They tended to segregate themselves in the culture and live within their own community. They stood out as the other, and they became, in their diversity, a perfect opportunity for Hitler to define as the enemy. And that's how the German Reich, the Third Reich, was organized around the common enemy of the Jew, and the German people found a new unity of will, purpose, and action. And it stands in contrast to the Bible's understanding of human beings. See, at the very beginning of the book of Genesis, there's this declaration that we are made in the image of God, that God makes us to be image bearers. And so much so that when we meet each other, we are able to recognize the face of God in one another. And the emphasis in the Bible is that this marker of unity amongst us, this divine image, precedes everything else in human life. Long before there were all the diversity markers, all the ways we're different from each other in race and ethnicity, language, custom, there was this element of our existence that unifies us. We belong to each other because we all bear the mark of the Creator. The story of Adam and Eve, of course, they ultimately fall when they get booted out of paradise. The implication is they've lost contact with the divine image, both within themselves and within others. They can't see it in another person anymore. And that's waved out to us today. We are still ourselves children of Adam and Eve because we can no longer recognize the true face of our brother or sister beside us. We've lost contact with the divine image. And we see that actually in the first story right after the fall of Adam and Eve, in the story of Cain and Abel. See, Cain turns his brother Abel into a monster. And in so doing, he's justified in killing him. Even in the most intimate relationships, monster making is alive between us and has a really cascading effect in our relationships with each other. And it's not just in Nazi Germany, it was in the Soviet Union. Stalin instituted a common enemy of the people in order to bring about this socialist utopia. And in doing so, tens of millions of people were killed. We see it in Pol Pot's regime in Cambodia. We see it in cascading effects around the world, and not just in big things too, or only in totalitarian governments and societies. You know, we turn the Japanese American and Canadian into a monster, and so we're entitled to intern them during World War II. You know, monster making is quite alive in our own personal lives. It's so easy to turn another person into a monster, if only for a moment. Turn a spouse or a child, a friend, a neighbor, a stranger even, into a monster, just for the moment. I was out a few days ago walking along a trail at dusk, and as I was walking back to my car, I saw this dark form come towards me. I couldn't really make it out. Was it some kind of shade monster coming to get me? It's easy to turn even the most innocent places into monster-making opportunities. Jesus invites us into a different way, the way of love, and the way of becoming acquainted with again and understanding the importance of the divine image that lives in all people. See, we're supposed to see each other as God sees us. That's the invitation that Jesus offers us today, to see our neighbor, whoever they might be, through the lens of love. And see, the amazing thing is when we begin to see our neighbor through the lens of love as God sees us, then the days of monster making are over.